Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel Growing with English. This is Preposition Part 3. If you haven't checked out Part 1 and Part 2, please do check it out. In today's video, we are going to learn about prepositions of position and preposition of movement and travel. So without further ado, let's get to the video. First up is prepositions of position. Under. Under is used to indicate a position that is below or beneath something. Like, the kitten was under the table. He looked under the bed. They took shelter under the trees. The water flows under the bridge. Next, underneath. Underneath also has the same meaning as under. It means a position below something. Like, she found a lot of dust underneath the carpet. The coin rolled underneath the table. He hid the gun underneath the bed. He left the key underneath the mat. Next is below and beneath. Below means in a position lower than something. Like, they could see the village below them. The lake is 500 feet below the sea level. He had a wound below the left shoulder. You should write below this line. Beneath also means a lower position than something. It has the same meaning as below. They found the body beneath a pile of grass. They found the body beneath a pile of grass. The body sank beneath the waves. And this beneath, it has a sense of directly under something. Next is over. Over is used to indicate a position vertically above something or somebody, or partly or completely covering the surface of something. Like, she hung the calendar over the fireplace. There were books all over the table. They held a large umbrella over her. There was a lamp over the table, or there was a lamp hanging over the table. Next is above. Above is used to indicate a position higher than something. Like, there were clouds above us. The water came above our knees. The pilot was flying above the clouds. The birds were flying high above the trees. We lived in the room above the shop. Next is prepositions of travel and movement. So, first is across. Across is used to indicate movement from one side of a space area, the line, to the other side. Like, I walked across the road. The cat ran across the lawn. They flew across the Pacific. He walked across the street. Now, along. Along is used to indicate movement from one end to or towards the other end of something. Like, we walked along the street. She went along the corridor. He hurried along the path towards me. Next is into. Into is used to indicate movement inside a place seen as a volume. The opposite of into is out of. It is used for entering a place, building, vehicle, etc. Like, the boys came into the hall. She ran into the house. He got into a bus, a train, a plane, or a car. The athletes marched into the stadium. Next is onto. This onto is used to indicate movement into a position on an object or surface. Let's take a look at the example. He climbed onto the roof. The cat jumped onto the table. A tree fell onto a car. He stepped out of the train onto the platform. Next is through. Through is used to indicate movement from one end of an opening or a passage to the other. And this place is seen as a volume. Like the train passed through a tunnel. The water flows through this pipe. They were riding through a forest. The ball went flying through the window. Next, up and down. Up is used to indicate movement to a higher position and down to a lower position. Like, we climbed up the hill. The girl ran up the stairs. I set off up the road. She was walking down the street. She fell down the stairs. The stone rolled down the hill. Next is on, in, by. We may use on, in, or by while using a public or private vehicle. On is used when the vehicle is seen as a surface. In is used when it is seen as a volume. And by is used to indicate the means of travel. Like, we traveled on the horseback, or we traveled on foot. We traveled on a cycle. We traveled on a bus. We traveled on a plane. They traveled by bus. They traveled by car. They traveled by train. They traveled by cycle. They traveled by sea. They traveled by plane, or they traveled by air. We traveled in a bus, a car, a train, a ship, or a plane. Between and among. Between is used with two persons or things, and among is used with more than two people or things. Like, she divided the apples between the two children. C comes between B and D. Somesh sat between Mahesh and Ramesh. He lives in a house among the trees. She divided the money among her 4 sons. Satish works among the poor. But if each individual person is mentioned, between is used even if there are more than 2. The money was divided up between Mohan, Sohan, and Rohan. And if the people are mentioned as a single group, among is used. Like, I shared out the food among the family. The girl quickly disappeared among the crowd. By and beside. By means close to someone or something. Beside means by the side of someone or something. And both imply nearness. Like, she was sitting by the door. There's glass just by your elbow. The telephone is by the window. She was sitting beside her mother. He always kept a dictionary beside him. Who's standing beside Kumar? This is the last video of prepositions, and so here are 10 questions for you to try out. This is a question. Fill in the blanks with appropriate prepositions using the given alternatives. The lion was killed, dash, the hunter, dash, a sword. So the alternatives are in, on, by, and with. Father divided his property, dash, 4 sons. Between, among, of, or in. He has been living in this house 1985 for since in or on. I shall return a month in, of, on, or for. The Ramayana is lying the table in, of, on, or for. We shall finish this work 5 p.m. today. Send me letters this address. You should listen what your parents say. Sita writes a diary. He did not listen my advice. I'll give you a few seconds to sort out the answers. Are you done? Okay, great. Now, I hope you've got the answers for it. If not, please don't hesitate to pause the video. Let's check out the answers now. The lion was killed by the hunter with a sword. Father divided his property among 4 sons. He has been living in this house since 1985. I shall return in a month. The Ramayana is lying on the table. We shall finish this work by 5 p.m. today. Send me letters to this address. You should listen to what your parents say. Sita writes in a diary. He did not listen to my advice. That's it for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more. I'll see you in the next video, and until then, bye!